Hello, everybody. Hello, and welcome to the East West Wisdom Podcast. And today, we want to talk about health. Now, as you can hear, I'm a bit nasally myself. I know it's like mid-August, yet I do have the flu. Now, I wanted to ask Ariel, how do we strengthen the immune system?
Thanks, Steve, and yeah, welcome to the show. I thought it would be great to talk about that. And there's a method called the Wim Hof method, and this guy named Wim Hof, amazing guy. If you were to get one thing out of this episode, you check this out because it's pretty life changing what this guy did. This Dutch man, now in his 60s, broke 26 world records, including longest ice bath, climb Mount Kilimanjaro in shorts, and many more. He came up with a method that he found while being in the most extreme environments, where it's a breathing technique combined with cold exposure. That when you do them together, you have control and influence over your immune system. He took it even to a place where he not only did it with himself, but he trained uh, more than 10, about, I think it was 16 other people to once, and they went to a laboratory. They got injected with an endotoxin, E. coli. They did the breathing method, and they didn't have the crazy effects that E. coli would have of, uh, big effect to your system, right? A big shock and really could tear down a lot of people. But he did it himself, and to prove that he wasn't superhuman, he trained many other people. And so this just makes you think of like, wow, okay, so we can influence our system, we can influence our immune system, and it's through a breathing practice. And I've been doing this for about 5 years, and I've noticed many improvements within my own body and throughout other people. And it's basically you're breathing in and out fully in and just letting go for 30 breaths, and then you go into a breath hold. So you breathe out completely and you hold your breath for as long as you can, and then you fully in for 15 seconds. That's the base kind of breathing practice. And you can learn more on my channel. I have a guided Wim Hof method session. And also, I recommend you go straight to the master, go to check Wim Hof out. But I think the biggest takeaway for me is that we have the power to influence our immune system, and we are not subject to this vulnerable state all the time where you actually are strong and you have the systems within you to really keep you strong from anything else. Adib, have you tried the Wim Hof method?
Well, I'm a veteran of Wim Hof myself for the last 4 years now. 4 years of cold showers and exercising in the morning at the crack of dawn. And oh yeah, and the breathing exercises that I've been combining with meditation and mindfulness um, during the days and during the nights before sleep. I found those to really reduce the amount of stress and anxiety that I had in my life. And oh my God, the the physical benefits themselves, you get to like you get to like have this very, very slim body because when you exercise in the morning and you take the cold showers in the morning, your body immediately burns fat. It burns, I think it's called the brown fat, right? It's like the thinnest layer of fat that's external of your body. So more and more muscle gain and less fat in my body has been appearing in my life. Now, for myself, I feel like I'm a less stressed person. Um, but then again, there are a lot of benefits to doing the Wim Hof method. Um, what else does the Wim Hof method uh, benefit us, Arya?
Yeah, through the research, he found, and the scientists found that not only is your immune system getting a huge boost from doing, the cold exposure and the breathing practices, but your influence over your autonomic nervous system is something that hasn't been really looked at before. It's called autonomic, or auto, just it's something that you don't really have control over up until recently when he did the research. So, through the breathing practice, you start to tap into a deep part of yourself where you can have influence. You don't have to be subject to the external world shaping and pulling you in various ways. Like if someone says something or a certain external events happening that suddenly, yeah, you become more stressed, or maybe everyone's saying the right things and you have the right situation, and then, oh, okay, now I can relax. But no, I want to share that you can be able to do these practices, and there's even other practices in yoga and other methods that can help you maintain a more balanced and more influenced nervous system. The nervous system has to do with the fighting and flighting, which is like activation, which we do need. It's not all bad, but when we're constantly in that activated state, we're more in this constant survival state, this constant battle, and we put a lot of stress on our system. Cortisol, adrenaline, they're all part of those. Uh, it's like being in a stressful situation. It helped us in the past when a lion was coming or when something's like really intense, a war was happening. We had to just jump right in. But we also need to have the other balanced part, which is the parasympathetic nervous system, which is has to do with resting, digesting. If, for example, you're always in the fight or flight, say your digestive system is going to be out of whack because your body is saying, okay, I can't focus on digestion. I'm going to focus more on fighting. So energy is going to your arms, energy is going to your body, and it's great. And, it's good that we can do this, but we need to have the balance so we can maintain harmony in our body. So yeah, I wanted to ask you, Adib, if you know of any way to, from your own experience, to be more in that rest, digest, or your experience with the nervous system.
Well, it's a nice way that you're presenting it. That we used our stress in order to create some benefits in our lives, which is very much true because we do have the ability to use stress um, to increase attention in certain things in our lives. Too much of that, too much of that is a recipe for disaster. And it seems that today's culture is very much into the world of believing that stress and a lot of stress has some value. Well, um, as you said, the way that I rest and digest helps me function as a human being. You see, the way that I do that is that I take a day out of my week, just one day that I'm not using my phone, that sometimes I would not eat, I would be fasting, or I would not be drinking, or I would not have coffee, I would not add anything to my system. And sometimes I won't even speak, I wouldn't even be talking to anybody. The less, the least amount of disturbances in your life, at least in that day, in that one day, can really benefit your ability to focus. Now, on a day like that, I would go to nature. I would go to the desert. I would go to a forest. I would go to a beach. I would go to a park. And I would find a spot that I could just lay down for a good hour, for a good like 30 minutes to an hour, and just lay there. And when that happens, when you're in that space, where there's no sounds, no cars, no movement, nobody's talking, no chatter, no conversation, and you don't have your phone and it's off, what happens is that things start to come up, your emotions, your thoughts, um, your doubts, things that happen throughout the week, things you regret. And when you're in that place of being by yourself and on your own, in that moment, you get to be able to just accept yourself and learn, really learn what makes you tick, what things you want to have in your life. And in that way, I know that within my body, I feel a lot less stress. I feel like I digest all of the things that have happened to me during the week, things that I have done during the week. And when the week starts, I have a lot more energy to do a lot more. It's like regenerating exercise, really. So I feel like regenerating is something that we should be doing as humans. It's super important to us in order to be um, productive members of society and in order for us to be peaceful human beings. And I feel that if anyone listening to our podcast and is trying to figure out what is East-West wisdom, it's that. It's that you are able to have more energy in your life and not less. I want you to have more energy. So, with that in mind, are there any more benefits to these techniques, Ariel, that regenerate us?
Yes, yes. And to think about east west, yin yang, you kind of see like like the different balances. Um, I really think that, and I'm a firm believer that the yin, or resting and digesting, is a crucial part into having more balance, especially in this day and age, but to have more energy. Because like the thing is like what's not a lot of people know. What I didn't know for a long time is that, okay, you drink more coffee. Okay, you just keep on going. You just keep on pushing. But there's a certain point, like you're actually going and continuing from an empty cup, or like kind of like you're running your tank really low. It's like, you have certain, it's like refueling is actually what you just said, of like lying down on your, like not doing anything, not having extra stimulation from uh phones and like watching things. It's like you're constantly doing things. So just the benefit of yeah, having more energy is incredible. One other thing to, resting, digesting, but just having more balance is also the health of your heart, your cardiovascular health. So we're talking about like three different systems, right? Immune system, nervous system, cardiovascular system. They're all interconnected. Before I jump into the heart, I just want to say, when you're in an imbalanced nervous system state, you're just fighting all the time. Your immune system's suppressed. Yeah, to have proper health in your in your immune system, you actually need to have rest and digest states. Even just looking at it from a psychosomatic place, like say if you're always stressed, it's like that's going to be the state your mind is in. And if the mind and body are always connected, I'm a firm believer that a lot of autoimmune conditions come from that. I've had an autoimmune condition. I personally can resonate that. I was always in this like let's fight kind of thing, and boom, like I got something. I had a skin issue for a long time that would actually come back if I'm not in that balance. want to connect it to the cardiovascular health. If we're always in a shooting adrenaline and cortisol through our body, our the health of our heart is it's going to take a toll on our heart. And something that the heart does is my favorite organ to talk about and to think about, but it's constantly pumping your entire life, and it has to do with the circulation of blood, but also from an energetic standpoint, circulation of energy. When there's stuck energy in the body, there are a lot of East and West practices that understand that that's where illness comes in. That's where disease comes in. And I think also from a psychological standpoint, when there's no movement, then there's this stuckness and this kind of, we're stuck in our emotions. And when the heart is healthy, not only we have good circulation physically in the body, but we can go through the balance and waves of emotion without attachment and without being stuck on one thing. Happiness is a feeling. It's not this constant, let's be happy all the time. And if you're trying to hold on to that, let's be happy all the time, then actually it's going to be more drastic and more intense when you go into other feelings that are just natural in the human experience, sadness, fear, but then joy comes back. So circulation is key. Yeah. And emotion is motion, and vice versa. Motion is emotion. And if there's no movement in the heart area, then that is just a place to like, you got to look at it. You got to look at it and say, like, okay, I want to improve the health of my heart. And in order to have an overall balanced life and harmonious life and healthy life, Adib, I want to ask you about the heart. What's coming up for you with around the heart?
Well, it's interesting that you asked that. I think that because I'm a person that likes to observe other people, I like to other people's like habits and stuff. I like to just observe how people think and how they talk to themselves and what they do in their day to day. Um, that allowed me to be able to see that more and more stressed people, the way that people build up stress is by how much they take on and how much are they prepared to be able to handle that much stuff in their life. Because it could seem very, very lucrative to be like, oh, I'm going to buy a car. Oh, I'm going to get a job like this and this amount of hours because I want and this amount of money, right? But all of these things, they cost something. They cost your time. They cost physical presence. They cost so many things. They cost responsibility. And when the person that isn't able to take responsibility for these things uh, is going to find themselves in a situation that they cannot take responsibility for their own lives, for medial stuff. Like let's say, um, let's say you have a dog, right? You're like living on your own in an apartment somewhere, right? Like let's say Israel, Tel Aviv or something, and you have a dog, right? And you go to work and you have to go out and work for X amount of hours and you need to take care of this dog. It's a living being and you need to take care of him because if you don't, he dies. and that's fucked. Sorry, not good. It's not good. It just means that you're incapable of taking responsibility of this life right now. Um, so I think that for myself, I just started taking responsibility for my actions, for the way that I think, my emotions, my energies, my body, the way that I speak with people, the way that people are around me, you know, doing all these things that I can take responsibility for. Not 50%, not 20%, not 30%, not 10%, but 100%. 100% of responsibility of everything that meets me, and not to be afraid of it, you know? Because by the end of it, what's going to cost you the most is your own health. That's going to take probably tens or hundreds of thousands to take care of your health if you've neglected it for too long. Um, Now, what do you think, Ariel? How do you take care of your health in your day to day?
You know, that's a really good question. It's one of those questions that would take a long time to discuss, and I think for everyone it has a different answer. I think I'm just going to pose a more question for anyone listening to this. What does health mean to you? Two, can you think about a time that you were the most healthy? And three, what's keeping you from getting back to that place? Those are questions I ask myself. And as far as health goes, I used to think that it was just you got to do a certain kind of diet. Okay, I was vegan for on and off for 3 to 4 years, and I thought that that was the answer to my autoimmune condition. That if I just keep on waiting it out, just go on a plant based diet, it's all going to work out. But when I just tried the vegan diet, it was just not enough. Life is way more dynamic than just what we eat. Okay, we eat something. And maybe there is a perfect diet for someone, and then that's how you get into optimal health. But similarly to like finding a breathwork practice that really works, like Wim Hof method really worked well for both of us. And like I did it last night, I'm gonna do it today because it keeps me in health. But health is the first. It's recognizing what are the actions you need to take in order to increase your vitality, right? And the more vital we are, the more healthier we are. So I think there's this like it's about thinking about your like, okay, how's your energy level? Are you depleted? Are you tired? And are you still going? Like no matter what diet you're on, that's not going to help. And then looking at every aspect of your life, there are multiple forms of wellness. There is physical wellness, there's emotional wellness, there's social wellness. Like, who are the people you're hanging around with? Sometimes people, like certain people, can actually bring toxicity or an unhealthy behaviors that you're going to be influenced by. So, looking at your whole life from a bird's eye perspective, looking down and saying, okay, what brought me into health in the past? Like, what really works? Like without any biased like opinion. Like for example, with like diet, like I actually figured out like as much as I love grains, I right now I can't tolerate grains. If I eat grains, my like a lot of grain, my skin issue comes back. And it's like very interesting. Very, very interesting that like there's that connection there. But it's like I think the most important thing is to just look from behind, look like put your mind out of the door. Like, of course, the mind is connected, but look at the whole system. Look at the East and the West and the inner wisdom within you, and you'll be able to find your health. I hope that answers the question, Atif.
Very good. Very good. I actually feel a lot better after our conversation. And well, as we learned in nutrition, right? MAGA, Minun Givun Izun, which is quantity, balance, and uh, diversity. These three things in all things, in food, in the people that we have in our lives, all of that. What comes in, what comes out. So I want to say thank you very much to our viewers, and to our beautiful Ariel Rubens for allowing us to talk about such a deep and very sensitive topic, especially today. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, and have a beautiful, beautiful week, everybody. And stay in health. Stay in good health, everybody. We can't hear you, Ariel. Or sorry, but is your mic off?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, the
yeah. I
greatest,
tried.
like my conclusion was right there. But yeah, I
Yeah,
just wanted to say, hey, thank you for watching this. If one viewer, at least one viewer, if you're watching this and you watch the whole thing, I know I can speak for myself that I am incredibly grateful for you. My heart is reaching out to you. We're here for you. And Adib, thank you so much, the beautiful host. Yeah, we look forward to seeing you next week on the East West Wisdom podcast. Subscribe, like this video, share it if this was helpful, and yeah, leave a comment if you have any questions for us.
ask questions. Ask all the questions, guys. We would love to answer them. Thank you.
Thank you. Goodbye.